Okay, yo, what's up, everybody? It's Francisco with Charles. Andrew is not with us again. It's been
He's alive, we swear.
oh yeah, no, he's celebrating Game One of the Stanley Cup Finals between Montreal and Tampa, and one of those games where Charles is like, "No bueno, blowouts, me no likey."
Well, shouldn't everybody feel that way?
Mm.
I, I have very little time in this world for anything recreational. I come home 5:36 at night. If I don't go to the gym, I'm forced to watch television. And if I do come back from the gym, I'm watching TV. I need something to justify keeping me up at night, as opposed to the haunts and the dreams and the PTSD of all my childhood and present endeavors.
Oh yeah.
And knowing
Oh,
that Aaron Boone is my manager still for the Yankees.
I want to talk about that.
Oh, it's coming.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, because the sports. I mean, aside from we have a Stanley Cup Finals and then we have NBA playoffs, but then baseball is basically like, all right, who do like what? How the hell do we fix our teams? And and that's it. So okay, well, maybe Montreal would have won if they had gotten their equipment from Perani's Hockey World. Their number one priority is to serve the customers. They have the best customer service, lowest prices, and largest product selection. The culmination of their experiences and hard work resulted in an ever-growing website with better features, more information and content, and continuing push to provide you with all of your hockey needs. They boast the lowest prices and biggest selection of all the new products, the lowest prices and biggest selection of all the closeout and prior year products. So check out our website, click on the banner, check it out, help us out, help them out, help yourself out with some hockey equipment. Okay?
You could do what Andrew encourages for everybody to bandwagon onto the Tampa Bay Lightning. Have Champa Bay, and Montreal's not helping it. Here we are telling feel good stories. Oh, it's like 30 years in making. There's no Canadian team that's won a Stanley Cup Finals, and then you get kind of you're administering a rectal exam, is what I would say happened.
Mm.
So go ahead, go onto that website, get your proper cups and sports hardware, and also we know they do jerseys. Go ahead and go jump the bandwagon on Champa Bay. Andrew approves it.
Yeah. And you can just stay in, play some Smelter, get on your PS4, your Xbox One, your Switch, get on your PC, enjoy that. Enjoy being Eve and just going all out on people. 16-bit action. All right?
Don't you want a little revenge for people for that snake to convince you to
Mm.
eat an apple and then doom all of mankind?
Mm.
I understand Eve's position here, because if I didn't have to eat the apple from an anamorphic snake, I would not have to wake up at like 6 o'clock tomorrow morning to drive to court.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go play Eve to get some revenge back on the system,
Oh yeah.
or Smelter and play as Eve to get some revenge back on the system.
Mm. So all right, so let's see. We got a bunch of stuff, Charles, but let's jump into the NBA because I feel like we can. I know there's a hockey game in the background. All right, NHL Face Off 2001 for the PlayStation DOS, but there's some the playoffs are still happening. Okay, playoff P is doing his thing for
Devin B is kind of showing what non-humble pie Charles said a couple of weeks ago, that he's just kind of a stat stuffer.
mm,
I would
well,
say.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. They're moving back to Los Angeles for Game 6. But Charles, the Suns, all right, just
Allow me
Game
to.
5, chance to close it out at home. Give Chris Paul his first ever finals appearance. And we got to wait a little longer. Hopefully. I'm actually really rooting for them. I want Chris Paul to at least play for the damn thing, even if he
You
doesn't
know,
win it.
you know why they lost yesterday, though, right? It's because of the group chat message. In the group chat, folks, I put "F it, go Suns," because I'm just sick of it. I have been won over by the Chris Paul story. I had said there's a bunch of people who have gone to the finals that were terrible players who won a championship. Eddie Curry, anyways, all these people. Tony Daniels.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep to that. A lot of people who I don't want to say were undeserving to win championships, but They were guys who were lesser people, whose entire 10 to 15 plus years worth of careers. I mean, here's a terrible statistic of why you want the Suns to make it. Ronnie Turioff has more rings
Hmm.
than Chris Paul. Yeah, yeah. Want to go play to remember forget, but that alone should be the reason why you
I mean,
want
it's not the ring thing. Like for me,
the
I don't
opportunity as the finals.
I don't consider, oh, you have to win it just to cement your legacy, because I mean, God knows there's so countless how many Major League Baseball Hall of Famers are out there, and I've actually looked at the Baseball Hall of Fame website. There's not as many as I thought there would be Hall of Famers. Our Lord and Savior will be inducted this year, but not. I mean, there's so many guys that they didn't even make the playoffs in their careers, just
Baseball's
because
kind
of,
of like that, though.
yeah,
Basketball, I feel
baseball's
like
hard.
everybody gets a chance. It's not like I
Well,
think Chris Paul's equivalent is whom in the NFL world? Philip Rivers has to be great, outstanding.
that's
Always
true.
talks about never could
Had a
maybe one
shot,
time get
yeah,
to a
gotten,
conference.
yeah, 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 exactly. Never, never once, never, none. Wow, yeah, yeah. Philip Rivers is a good comparison. I like that one. I like that one a lot.
But aside from Chris Paul being dramatic, and look, Chris Paul has a history of being dramatic. He's very demanding of a player. And that flop last night, that was a pure offensive foul that people were saying that he was trying to say was foul. It was a flagrant between him and um, Marcus Morris. When he was just basically kicking at the legs. It was all him, boo. But you remember the things that you like about Chris Paul. I remember him basically breaking Kobe's ankles when he was still with the Hornets, and I thought that was cool.
Mm.
And leaving it on the table just to beat the lowly Spurs, who were already outside that window of championship routes. Or what I think that was the year before they broke up the Big Three. Um, so it was interesting, to say the least, coming into it there. But then I think I jinxed them because here I am making the submission, saying, "Oh, F it, let them have it," and then they just did not show play. And here's the thing, Francisco, they almost lost Friday. It was 84-80. No one can get an offensive ball in, no basket. That stuff was brick city for both sides.
Yeah.
You know what I find? My pettiness is coming back. Not Scottie Pippen petty. That's a special kind of
Oh,
petty.
that's actually the cover for our episode
Yeah.
this week.
Well, kids, there's a reason why. Because Scotty was influential in our
Petty
lives, but he
with
was.
petty spelled with an I and E at the end now.
Yeah, this is a new kind of petty that I have never. Oof, he was spitting some fire, man. He was kind of like um, this is just like the drama that I never expected, and I'm like, why is it relevant? Because it's Scotty doing it. But we're definitely gonna give a segment to that. But you look into what was happening, my old petty self was coming back when I'm like, well, they couldn't win. They barely won the other day, 84-80, against a Clippers team that didn't have Kawhi and Zubac's. I don't know how to say his name. I want to say Zubat from Pokemon, but their center was injured, and then they lost last night to a team that didn't have Kawhi again and did not have Zubac's as well. So you didn't have your starting center. So they were relegated to DeMarcus Cousins, who's just trying to figure out if he's still DeMarcus Cousins or DeMarcus, second cousin coming into it. So I think that's interesting because here's a question. We mentioned it last week. I mentioned a couple weeks back. Is Tyronn Lue just a better coach than Monty Williams? Because you still lost in Game 4, but you lost by 4, and that was because I think they didn't run the pace into it. And then you change your game plan down your big center, who's a rebounder and a putback guy, with DeMarcus. So you're going pure small ball. There's not a tall guy there, and you were able to kind of whoop it. You came close to losing the lead, but you didn't lose it. Game plan, you said, all right, we'll let.
Well, they actually did lose the lead like briefly. It was very brief.
But then you get it back.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you end up dominating at the end by 14. So you take away 6 of those points. Because I watched the entire game, so it's refreshing to have West Coast games that we can comment on. But I was like, man, is Monty Williams kind of reverting back into the whole like, oh, this is me, Monty, in New Orleans, where I just let the players do the thing and I don't have the initiative to stop stuff. Oh, AD, take care of it. Oh, Chris, take care of it. Because you felt like when the team was supposed to be in this game, they weren't. And when you felt like they should have been in it in the prior game, they barely got lucky. And I don't know if you want to take that because the Clippers, I don't think they count how far they're behind. I think they count how many they need to win. I kind of admire that mentality that Tyronn Lue's doing. And
I have to say, Tyronn Lue has been he's proving to
respect.
everybody that he is an actual legit coach.
What
Like,
did we say a couple weeks ago?
yeah,
I didn't believe Doc Rivers could beat the Mavericks in that kind of situation of how they did it when they were behind and came back. The same, but Tyronn Lue could because we knew this was a good coach. I think people ragdolled it because of the fact that he won with LeBron. But yes, he won with LeBron, and then he went to the finals the following year as well. And he decided to say, "Fire me because I don't want to be part of your blow-up plan because you're cheap, Dan Gilbert."
mm.
And he has extensive coaching experience. He understands rotations. He's not getting hired out of favoritism like a certain coach who just got hired in Portland. I'm saying it, Chauncey Billups. We're going to talk about that too because that is I'm saying now, dumb hire. I don't think Chauncey's going to prove me right. They can listen. Listen to us. Follow us on Twitter, guys. Sports Goofs, Dan Frijoles, Charles the True, whatever the hell Francisco's thing is at this point for all our pettiness because today's the petty episode.
Mm.
But I was thoroughly impressed. And what Tyronn Lue did to kind of coach it, he says, okay, we can't make threes, but everybody's going to drive to the basket. And I got to tell you, for a team that has DeAndre Ayton, that was soft as tissue paper going to the rim for a lot of guys. Paul George was just unstoppable. Reggie Jackson fulfilling that potential in a
Oh
contract
well,
year
I
that
mean
all Detroit
Reggie
was looking for.
Jackson. I mean, look, he's been. I don't know if you saw what I probably haven't sent it to you. I probably should. Freddie's on here.
Oh,
Dumb
hi,
hires
Freddie.
make me want to do a Dylan Bundy, not to be confused with a Ted Bundy. There you go. There you go, Charles. So no, was it? There was a video from SB Nation on their Secret Base YouTube channel talking about the beef between Reggie Jackson and Russell Westbrook. But man, that man had a hard life in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City. I mean, sheesh. I think I'm loving this for him. Like, if the Clippers win, then I'm all for Reggie Jackson trying to get his. Especially, imagine the Los Angeles Clippers win and he wins a ring before Russell Westbrook. That would be the
He wins a
ultimate
ring
fu.
before. But here's the interesting part. It's not just you. The Suns have two players that are both former Westbrook understudies, Reggie and Cameron Payne. Because Cameron Payne was the guy drafted in there. He's been filling in for
Hmm.
Chris Paul as he was out. So I find that interesting to say the least. I guess Dylan Buddy threw up on the field. I agree with you, Freddie, or on the mound. But
What's with
it's
pitchers throwing up? I mean, it's been like I think it's happened twice this season already, but
it's the anxiety knowing that they're
uh,
cheating and getting their stuff checked.
or the sticky stuff is inside their mouth and they're just trying to figure out a way to stomach it.
You could just be like Garrett Cole is like, screw it, I'm getting paid anyway. I don't care if my ear blows up, which is fine. I'm not going to poo-poo on him.
Mm.
I'll comment on that when the time
I
comes
mean,
to
he might
comment
need
on
it
that.
just to get some grip on the ball, but
He just to give a sneak preview. He lit up those runs against a team that could hit. Apparently, there you
mm.
go. It's logical. It's not like when he shut out the Braves and he made Josh Donaldson strike out. But I'm really kind of impressed. And here's the thing, Francisco. The Clippers get so many passes because I think you do get a pass from me if you lose because Kawhi was hurt, but you assume that risk. Kawhi is not Mr. Healthy all the time, but I think people get that pass, but they don't want to rest on those laurels of getting a pass for being hurt.
Nope.
Um, they're going to try, and I think stop that trash with Paul George. Seriously, we don't like him because we know that he's a very good player and a stellar defender, but Tyron is playing him the way he's facilitating the ball. He's moving the break, man. He's moving everywhere. He's attacking the paint. He's not trying to jack up threes and be an ISO guy like a certain coach Doc Rivers told him to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a coach who actually understands the players. Why? Because it's not too far to snuff from coaching. The team is well built. There are consequence of sometimes when you have two max player contracts on the team and you have to kind of work with pennies because DeMarcus Cousins on a veteran contract, Reggie's on a 1-year veteran contract. I think Marcus Morris is on a veteran 1-year contract. A lot of these guys are going to be free agents and going to get paid elsewhere. Boogie's coming to Miami. I'll explain that later. I don't know if I want it or not, but I'll explain to it later. But they're going to try because I think that window for this team is closed because they're going to be set back because salary cap may go up and might go down. We don't know. But I think Tyronn Lue's not scared. And I think Phoenix is kind of scared if the blueprint was attack the paint. Because what do you have? What do you have aside from Booker? If they're saying let Booker get his shots, and they're saying Chris Paul is good for 20 and facilitating the offense, so if you smother the other players, make sure they don't get the free ball and the assist, so they don't shoot it off, I think that's a recipe. And that's what they did yesterday. That's what they did in the other game that they won. And that's almost what they did when they lost 84-80. And I can't tell people how big that is.
It seems like the Suns. Let's see. I was watching, just for another comparison, I was watching like a base MLB Network presentation about the 1990 Cincinnati Reds or whatever, and they swept their way to the World Series. Like they beat the Oakland A's in 4 games, but during Game 4, like 2 of their starters, I forget which players, got injured. Like they were gone. And especially one of them, like he was done for the series. Like he was done.
Yeah.
And basically the guys on the Reds were basically like, oh crap, we actually have to win today because if we don't, they might actually have a shot at coming back with 2 of our best guys out. So it seems like Phoenix is almost playing that way, like we have to win now because we don't want to deal with these guys going deeper into the series, and yet here we go. And it's basically like they saw what happened to Utah. They saw what happened to Utah and the adjustments that were made by the Clippers to find a way to beat the Jazz. And so it seems like the Suns know exactly the MO of the Clippers. Like, hey, this team is not going to give up at all. Like, we're not going to beat these guys down. There's no way that they're going to blow them out. So going from here on out, I mean, sheesh. I mean, you can blow yourself out at McDonald's by getting the BTS meal. That's for sure.
Sweet chili sauce all up in your guts and in your rectum.
Mm-hmm. We are the worst promoters of McDonald's.
I don't think so.
Since this started.
I will listen, McDonald's, I told you, within the coming weeks, I will try your spicy chicken sandwich. I almost had your breakfast the other day, but I wasn't, that exhausted for it yet. But I promise it's coming. I'll leave it on this in Clippers and Phoenix. I feel like I can go on too long. Clippers, they're an advantageous team. If you're going to let them come back, if you're going to let them stall out, because they were down on Saturday's game, they were down by like 14, and they were able to cut it back. So that's why Phoenix, I feel, kind of needs to be scared. And the one thing I'm going to say about this is that never, ever, for the love of Christ, listen to Mark Jackson or Jeff Van Gundy. Because I was listening to it, and then I got to tell you something. I don't know if it's proper to say it. I don't know if we're getting in trouble for saying it. They're fake. They're so fake. Because all they did in the first half was critique Paul George. But the minute they won, Paul George played a great game. They said he was scared. He was doing a lot of dumb turnovers. He's too talented of a player to do this, and they're not letting the flow of the game come into it. And it's just so annoying.
That's why the Eastern Conference has the better broadcasting crew. I mean, we're lucky. We're lucky in the Eastern Conference. They got TNT.
And I like Jeff Van Gundy's opinions and analysis. Mark Jackson, give or take. It comes in because I don't know if Mark kind of brings in much growth that I want sometimes in my broadcasting analysis, but with Van Gundy, I think I like it because he's slight, but then he literally goes and says, because they're arguing about like flagrant fouls too, because there was a point where Jay Crowder, we love Jay. Jay, I would love you to come back, but you're not going to.
No.
More money. And I get it. But he basically fouled Paul George and he's like, "Oh, I didn't do that." And then he ended up hitting him in the eye too. And then Jeff Van Gundy goes and says, "I'm sick of the sissification." Like, bruh, you should be sick of the fact that there's so many like fouls called and it takes time for review. But you can't say that you're sick of the sissification league, because if you're going from the '80s, '90s mentality, they were just doing like WWE takedowns some of those days. That's the whole thing about the Bad Boys, man. They came into it, but I don't want to say I need ESPN to kind of just like give me new people, but I wouldn't be remiss if you did. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh no, ESPN's NBA and
All
like
right, so BU real quick says spicy chicken sandwich is actually edible. Freddie
yeah.
goes can confirm. He says Deluxe was disappointed. All right, so I won't go Deluxe, but we need parity, guys. I say we need parity for two reasons. Why? Because Francisco and I have been too much involved. We are not in a bad romance. We're in a tryst with the Chiking sandwich from Burger King.
Oh, and
And
Charles and
also,
crew. Yeah, keep going, Charles.
you know what I'm about to say on that one, and we might, in some point, have to itemize draft entries for our fast food draft. So I feel like we need to try some of these new things to list out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta start planning that because we are about to
I've
enter
been thinking
July.
about it. Yeah,
We're about little less than a month away from that in the NBA draft, and
this is the most important draft of all our time, kids.
for real, yeah, we gotta get people in on this. I gotta reserve Doug.
Mm-hmm.
See
We
if I can reserve him or not.
we at least need, I would say, 5 or 6 people on this. And Freddie and BU, by all means, please join us. But because if we're gonna go, like, I would say we go into like the first hour, but we got to figure out the itemized list, because we can't just go and say which fast food thing. You got to put the item
Oh,
that's your thing.
Freddy's
So right
Freddy's
now,
Freddy's already throwing it out there. It's got the Chick King greater than the
oh,
Chick-fil-A, which is equal to the Popeyes greater than McDonald's. Oh,
please join on Andrew, who was trying to tell us that Chick-fil-A is great, and then there's
Chick-fil-A is shit.
yeah, and then there's Francisco and I telling Andrew that we're heathens. We were gonna burn Andrew at the stake.
All
Andrew
right.
Andrew was repping Chick-fil-A like the guy outside the courthouses saying the end days are coming, and we're just like, whatever, old man, get this away from me. I don't want to.
Oh man, I am so excited about this. I really am. I have to grab. I have to like study menus from here on out. Okay.
Well, we got to do that, and we have to ask ourselves a bigger question. And I don't think you're ready for this, but we can't just do the actual sandwiches or form of sandwiches. Not everything is a sandwich. Tacos, obviously. We might have to implement the sides. And I think it's a fair argument that you need the cheesy fiesta
Heck, even
potatoes.
desserts. God, man.
Exactly. Dessert.
I'll pick a frosty. I'll pick a
Yeah.
frosty out of somewhere
Yeah.
round. I don't know which round, but I'll see.
Cheesy fiesta potatoes are going high. I love me some Burger King onion rings. I don't know what it is. I love it. I love it.
Hmm.
This is a dangerous game. We're not ready for it.
Yeah.
That's why we're giving all the people who are listening notice, because we will be prepared for it. And we're going to see what happens, because that's going to be the shocker.
Yeah.
Who's going to slip in the draft, too? The
Mm.
thing that universally, I feel like it'll be something from Taco Bell, where people say they universally love, but it's not on their forefront of what they would draft.
Yeah. It seems like that. I mean, oh, I got to give this more thought. Popeye
Yeah,
sides are my dark horse. According to Freddie,
Cajun
he's
rice.
already throwing it out there.
The dirty rice or the Cajun rice, I actually like that side more than their chicken, but I would agree with that. I think it's muy bueno. Muy bueno. It's harder than you think, especially when you have to pick selections that you don't have and then things that you're already thinking of. This is what it feels like to be a sports executive. I'm ready to ship to Milwaukee and Atlanta if you are, good sir.
Yeah, yeah. Let's do it. So, oh, and by the way, they've offered me a challenge as far as my cooking skills are concerned. I have to recreate the chicken. So,
Andrew offered you a
yeah,
challenge.
that's true. And, well, and then he offered like for me to make like a. You said this ocho leches or something like that.
Oh yeah, I was just slinging it out there. Oh,
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can
mashed
play
potatoes
God.
and Cajun gravy is good. I mean, if you could make it, but make it your way, man. Because one of the
Oh
things that
yeah.
Taco Bell that they had was, remember the caramel empanadas? You could be creative and do
Mm-hmm.
your ocho leches coming in there.
Dear
I was
God.
thinking of like ESPN the ocho, but it's possible. What if you made your own
I think
Francisco? Francisco, hard. hard, crunchy shell with the leches inside.
Oh
And
my
it's your
god.
world.
I think that's a human rights violation. I'm not even sure.
I don't know. A human rights violation might be letting certain coaches in the NBA who never coached before in their life. Charlie Billups.
Why is this a thing? This is the same issue I had with what's going on in Major League Baseball, and it goes to the Aaron Boone thing. Yeah, no, let's go to the Aaron Boone thing. We can talk about the Bucks later. So,
All right.
okay, so
You lead it. You're not as biased as I am, and then I'm going to ream into this hardcore.
I feel who was the first Major League coach that they or manager that kind of started this trend of like, well, I've never managed a day in my life at any level at any point, not even my.
David Ross, Aaron Boone.
Let's see. Didn't they do? Wasn't Robin Ventura one of those too? I think so. Correct. He was one of those as well.
But it's a lot of former players who say that. But
Yeah.
I know the game because I played in so long.
Yeah, well, I mean, David Ross is basically like, I'm retired, and then like the next season he got the job. So,
Buddy, David Ross is Aaron Boone. ESPN booth, liked by the team that had made them the most famous, brings him on because they're yes men. Screw it, I'm taking this. They're yes men, damn it. They're yes men because the general managers were sick of the hard-nosed guys who were going to bump their chest and fight Max Scherzer.
Okay, so let's go back. I mean, example, the New York Yankees. We're gonna do this. So the New York Yankees hired Aaron Boone after Joe Girardi. Joe Girardi, who famously got fired by the Marlins because he was not gonna take no guff from Jeffrey Loria.
No guff.
No guff whatsoever. Goes off to New York, gets himself a ring. All right, gets himself a ring.
Our most competent manager knew how to work that bullpen.
Yes. And former Yankee as well, but not so former, where to the point where it's like you said, yes, man. And also, he moved up the ranks. He was on Joe Torre's staff before getting the Marlins job. So he was seasoning himself. All right, we're gonna get a little saucy here, but he was seasoning himself for the major league managerial job. Eventually goes to Miami, starts out the way they should all start out. All right, I'm managing I'm managing the Arizona Diamondbacks. Let's pick a terrible team right now, and this is gonna suck for a couple years, but I just need the experience, and then hopefully I show some flashes of brilliance if the guys play over their heads. And it looks like I know what I'm doing, I'll get a much better job. Well, guess what? He gets fired by the Marlins, wins the Manager of the Year, goes off to the broadcast booth with the Yanks, right? He was with the Yankees Broadcast Network or whatever.
I think he went yes.
Or was he on
ESPN?
ESPN?
He was
yeah,
ESPN.
Another one of those guys. Exactly. And then he got the job in New York in 2008. Wins your ring the next year. And playoff appearances. Kind of knows... Actually... put in the work to know what he does.
Inherited a team.
Like Aaron Boone, honestly, I don't think I get the 2003 series Red Sox hits. If he doesn't hit that home run, nobody gives a shit who Aaron Boone is.
But no one cares who Aaron Boone is now. He is not as revered, even on that home run.
I thought his older brother was more revered than him, Brett Boone. His dad was more revered.
Is more revered than Aaron Boone. He left and he came back.
Yep. So Aaron Boone gets this job, and I think it seemed like the New York Yankees were trying to jump in on this trend, which doesn't seem like something they should be doing because they're the richest team in Major League Baseball and they can have any manager that they want, anybody. And they just hired this guy, Aaron Boone. Oh yeah, whatever. I was in New York 15 years ago, and it's all good, and yet he has no experience with anything else. And it seems like, oh, we have a roster. Heck, a monkey could win a World Series with this roster. Doesn't seem like it right now. Doesn't seem like it at all. You've made some ALCSs, but. And we can talk about 2017, but it just doesn't seem like Aaron Boone gets it. Like he just doesn't have it. So okay, go ahead, Charles. I've been hanging on.
Thank you. It's okay. No, I think you did a perfect intro. Brian Cashman had to deal with Joe Torre and Joe Girardi. Mm-hmm. Joe Torre was too big to fail. in that mentality because he was along so long that we didn't know how to put Old
Well,
Yeller down.
I mean, Joe Torre was. Remember, he was kind of like, I guess when he was hired, he already had like some failed stops in like Atlanta and some other places,
New York,
at
yeah.
St. Louis and stuff like that, and then he goes to New York. They win in '96. Then the roster's constructed to the point where you guys got that three-peat. It's like, no, you can't fire him now. He's stuck there.
Yeah, well, remember, we got rid of Showalter for him, if memory serves
That
me
is
correctly.
true.
It was
Well,
building
Buck
up, but he was-
Showalter. I mean, Buck Showalter is one of those. I mean, he might as well be Doc Rivers without the ring.
yeah, that's fair. Bobby Valentine's my also other comparison.
Yeah.
If I could build into it, Bobby, for anybody who watches, like, kind of you is the best kind of description for any kind of MLB manager back in the day. But so you had to endure Joe Torre, and here's the thing, Joe. People, I think, wanted Joe out like 2 years prior than he was finally out, and then Joe gives us the big, like, yeah, I'm going to retire and go for that. He does not retire. He goes over to the Dodgers. He takes all of the same staff that he had from New York, including Mattingly, and he had a succession plan because Joe was done when he was ready.
And the Dodgers made it to the two-strand LCS while he was there.
But couldn't close the deal
Phillies,
because that seems to be that also seems to be just a thing that happens with a lot of Dodger teams when you think about it. But then we get Joe Girardi. Joe was inherited. I forgot who the competitor. Oh no, because it was supposed to be. It was either Don or Joe, and I think Cashman kind of said, "I know what Don Man is about," because Don was there the year before. I think Cashman came on board or 2 years.
Yeah, because Joe was with Joe Girardi was with Joe Torre, like the season prior before he got the Marlins job.
Yeah. So there was some stuff coming into it, and everything just kind of worked in sequence because the Marlins were willing to let go the guy who was the NL Manager of the Year.
At that point, it was 2005. Jack McKeon retired, and won the World Series, whatever. And then it's like, okay, rebuild completely. They got rid of all of the rest of the championship squad that was left, except for Miggy and Dontrell, and then but then Joe Girardi has them playing way over their heads, and they wins the Manager of the Year. So
yeah, and what happened with Joe coming into it was, he wasn't yes man, but he built a credible roster, but they were kind of stuck in flux of old men on and out. But he did get us a championship. Why? Because we signed players we actually needed for positional fields. That's when we got CC.
CC was huge.
That's when we got even AJ Burnett. And even though AJ Burnett was great after the fact, sometimes you just need that 1 year compared to now. But we won't point fingers at Brian Cashman for this year's season just yet because it's got to be on air. Joe was a headache. We got the baby bombers. That's when we got Sanchez. That's when we got Judge. Even Giancarlo, I think, was young when he was traded in. On top of it, we don't count Starlin Castro. He got shipped away to Marlins.
Yeah, no, Starlin Castro is one of those guys. I mean, it's not like Mech Warriors 5 Mercenaries. You can get that on Steam.
You can be your own weapon of war. I used to play 3 all the time when I was younger on my computer. It was great.
Yeah, it's a long time ago for that series. Dear Lord.
But Joe Girardi is, because when you think about him, he wasn't the greatest player in his position, but he was a vet. So sometimes I think what happened with Joe is the people he had, he didn't want to be patient with the rookies. He wanted to work with the vets. And the vets loved him, but there was concerns about the young guys, a.k.a. Aaron Judge, who was the crutch of my existence sometimes. Then we get Aaron Boone.
It's kind of funny. Kind of funny. Well, I mean, yeah, he kind of worked himself to that point, right? Because at the beginning with the Marlins, it's like, okay, you're just a team full of rookies, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, this is how you start out. This is how you start out in baseball. You don't just get handed the keys to a championship squad immediately without any experience. And then he graduated, gets himself a ring, and at that point, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm one of those guys that you put in when you want to win it all, which is what he's trying to do in Philly, but it's Philly and all the teams there are frauds, so that ain't gonna work out.
Which is weird because now Joe Girardi's over in Philly, and I can't tell you if they have that young team aside from who they have. One the Knicks, or not Knicks, one the Mets, which was Syndergaard.
Yeah.
And they have Bryce. And I think everything else is just a compilation. Oh, they have Real Muto.
Yeah.
So he's kind of getting that blend of young and vets. But
Reese Hoskins is one of the young guys there. And he's got Didi. Didi's there as well.
That's right, Homer. And that kind of goes in the trend. You bring the guys that you know are loyal. But I think what happened was the Baby Bombers came in. We didn't want to renew Joe. Was there reasons to renew Joe? Yeah. Was there reasons not to renew Joe? Sure. But I don't think baseball is the way kind of like how NFL, where you hire new dudes on the idea that I can maximize potential. That's a brand and that's a lie because there's plenty of guys who were hired to maximize potential players and they suck. Ken was not. He was a Tennessee Titans coach. I can say that for sure when he got Marcus Mariota. They just knew it wasn't going to fit into, or even like not everybody's like Kevin Stefanski, who's like, I can actually make Baker Mayfield good, as opposed to Freddie Kitchens, your prior was like, I'm gonna make Baker good, and he's like, I'm gonna make Baker side. Or Mike McCarthy going to Dallas and just not doing anything with that team. You've been a coach for like 12 years, bro. And in NBA, it's always about more of, I would say, I think you would agree with me too, is about minute restrictions, philosophical checks, and how to do your rotations.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the coaches kind of bring into it. And that's why we get a lot of repeats. We don't get a lot of new blood in NBA, even though they'll tell you that it is, partially because it's a good old boy system, as is all sports. The same thing going on with baseball. That's why Tony La Russa is now the manager of the Red Sox when Rick Renteria did nothing wrong. That's who I want. We're going to talk about that in a second. But then comes Aaron Boone. Success in 2017. Yes, that's when everybody was kind of actually playing, not to the potential, but where they should have been. And then, of course, the cheating, the Astros. I will not say that we were purposefully losing, but Ross Chapman giving up that home run when there was a trash can situation, game 6 and 7. Yeah, you know where I'm going. 2018, Alex Cora cheating. No one wants to investigate the Red Sox, but why can't we just address it? That's me, where I sit and I die on that mountain. And then 2019, back at it, no cheating allegedly, but I'm telling you, homeboy Rob Manfred did not look that far. It was stuck to 2017, didn't look into 2018 definitely, and I bet you they didn't look into ALCS in 2019 when they went. Thankfully, they lost to the Dodgers. And then last was in between. But I told you at the end of the season when we got eliminated last year, what did I say? I don't want Aaron Boone on my team. I held to that. I'm sure other people did. But my problem with Boone is you don't know when to pull a guy. It really feels like that. It really feels that you don't know when to let the rotations out. You don't know when to sit certain people. Why is Sanchez still on my team? I know he's doing good now, but if you had traded him at the beginning of the season, maybe we get the rotation guys. And my biggest problem with him, you can't tell Cashman that he effed up in the offseason at the winter meetings, and this was in the group chat, the way that Girardi and Torrey did, because Girardi said, hey, this team sucks, let's go get some guys. Because that's why I'm stuck with Jameson Tyen, who is like 2 of 4 with a 5.3 ERA, with Domingo Germán, who's still learning on it, because Cashman's like, I want to reduce pay flow, I want to pay all these people, I want to bring in Luis Severino when he's back in July. And then we had the gift of Kluber, but Kluber is hurt, and he's out, and we're not second. So I'm stuck with Lasega and Jordan Montgomery splitting, going this weird 4-2 range of innings. One will go 4, another guy comes in 2 or 3. It doesn't work, man. So I want him gone. Give me Rick Renteria, because at least with the young potential I was with the White Sox, he did good. And he was just blackballed because the White Sox owners have a hard-on, I'm going to say like that, for Tony La Russa. And look, Tony La Russa's managing fine. That's okay, But I'll give that guy a fair shake. He's not a sexy name for Rick Renteria. It's not crazy, but at least he kind of knows how to kind of call.
He's kind of been, and this might be the chance for him to graduate to this opportunity, because he was managing the Cubs when they were going through their rebuild initially, and then he moves on over to the south side to do with the White Sox in their rebuild. And look what happened to both those teams. Yeah, they fired him both times, but they fired him for, the Cubs went for the sexy guy, which was Joe Madden at that time,
Yeah,
and then
I don't blame him, but
yeah, and then you had the Yanks went with like the whole, let's hire a guy who doesn't have any experience, and that's not with Aaron Boone. That's what they went with. And
so his managerial record is 309, 398. For some people, that's under 500. That's not a bad managerial record when you think about it, because of where you're placed on a team. Buck Showalter's not a bad manager. Buck Showalter's win-loss record is probably inflated because he was on tanking teams. The same thing with Ned Yost. I believe Ned Yost won
with the Royals
World Series, and he had to go through some very bad years when he was with whom?
Milwaukee,
before Milwaukee kind of gets into relevance. I'm not intimidated by Rick Renteria. I'm intimidated by getting the guys out of the only one that I would say get out of the booth because I'm just curious. He is Eduardo Perez, man. Bring him on board. Get him out of MLB, ESPN stuff. Let me see what guy. I think he has some tact with him. But I want somebody who's kind of proven but just needs more potential.
Yeah.
He could be, to bring it to a football realm, he could be my Steve Young of managing. He had to sit and wait it out because some old guy took forever, Joe Montana, to go and leave, and we want to see the investments. Because managing is a good old boy, so why shouldn't we take that approach? It's not. You had mentioned Mike Scioscia, too old, too battered, too beaten. He's sick of management. You already know that.
I mean, is he though? I mean, he's with Team USA right now in the Olympics. I
Olympics.
feel like that's like a warm up for him to come back.
Side note: Ned Yost, a World Series winner and a 2-time back-to-back World Series manager. His career record is 12-03, 13-41. My point proven.
Yeah.
Correct. I would say from there. But I thought Mike was over 60. But maybe it's because he was there.
Look what the White Sox did with Tony La Russa. So there's no limits anymore.
So it's just 62. Renteria's 59. And then can we get rid of Cashman? But the problem is if we get rid of Cashman, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. Because if they bring in them Steinbrenners, like give me the cheap, and we just sell the farm completely,
it seems like that's now. Yeah, it seems like the current Steinbrenners wouldn't get rid of him. It seems like they'll just let him. The Yankees. Look, the Yankees brand prints money. It just does. I don't know if these guys. I mean, they saw the World Series championships and all that stuff. I don't know if they have that same drive as their dad did. I don't know. And which ones died? Which one died? One of them died, right?
Not Hal, but Hank.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're really as emotionally invested in the team now. I'm not sure. I mean, they're gonna own them. Obviously, it's cash cow. But I don't know. There might be some down years here.
But that's fine though, because it's expected, because we had down years from the 80s to the 90s.
Unless there's a grand plan to turn them into what the Dodgers are doing.
Well, this is what I would say is the grand plan if you want to be there. I don't think the AL East is that. I think it's tough, but I don't lick the boots of the Red Sox. I'm not licking the boots of Tampa. The problem is we're too far back now to kind of get to it. But I think whom you decide to keep it, we're stuck with Giancarlo, but he's been playing fine. I'm actually going to say he's been playing fine. Judge is a determining factor. He's 29. He's on a 1-year thing. I think he goes to arbitration. You got to decide if he's your multi-million-dollar guy.
Giancarlo's doing fine. He's stayed healthy. That's doing fine for him.
and I think if you had tossed out Sanchez, traded him, get that pitching.
Hey, Aaron Judge hit a 434-foot home run. Look at that.
Look at that. As I'm talking that smack, but you got to determine. But I mean, with Tampa, they've been on a slide. With Boston, we just couldn't beat them, man. We came so close and we just couldn't come into it because of the bad pitching and the bad start. But you need those pitchers. Oh, by the way, Trey Young was ruled out for Game 4. Just put it away, kids.
Damn it.
Health is the ultimate key to winning everything. We're not watching that later today. But it's aggravating because no team wants the rebuild. The Yankees are not like Oakland, who's this is really the window. Because Oakland's every 10 years you have a 2-3 year window. You know what I mean? Or it's purposely in how Cincinnati used to be, purposely in how you guys used to be before the Jeter organization. I don't want you to suck to tank for lottery picks, so that's a 5-year investment when you're going to MLB draft. It's not like football.
It doesn't seem like the Yankees. I'm not sure. I don't know if. Trying to think. It doesn't seem like you guys even really need to do that, to be honest.
We don't. But
you can rebuild on the fly.
But are we having to reload? And I say reload for next year, because get some guys that are young under contract that if they're in for pitching, if they're in that weird area of 3 to 4s, good, fine, take it. You go from there. That maybe they haven't been able to do well on that field, that ball club. Maybe they need to do better mechanics, and then just get rid of Aaron Boone. He'll find another job if he doesn't go with the broadcast booth. Someone will hire him.
He'll go to Cincinnati. Watch.
Yeah, he'll go to Cincinnati. He'll go to Pittsburgh. There's no such thing as lifers. And maybe you get those fresh starts. I'm hoping that Rick Renteria's tenure with us, if we do hire him, will be just like Gabe Kepler, who's now coaching over in San Francisco. And for some reason, with standard good coaching And managing, they're just a juggernaut at that moment.
I mean, yeah,
Maybe
sheesh, man.
offer that.
The Giants found a way. It seemed like I don't know if I can't even say if it's a rebuild on the fly because they got a bunch of old guys still on that team.
You were kind of remember pseudo competitive last year. It's just I think they tanked out at the end.
No, actually, no. It was just kind of like they couldn't keep up with the other wild card teams. Like they were probably like one game out from making the playoffs or something like that.
Yeah, but
So
that goes to show maybe the potential was there. And Gabe Kapler was the guy who used to be manager. What was it for the Phillies?
And also, I think yeah, he was with the Phillies before that.
Sometimes you need a chance here. You cannot look at records as a basis for managers to get that opportunity. This ain't like the NFL when you look at Hugh Jackson. Like, oh, he's 1-15, but we're gonna keep him on board, guys.
I mean, you've made examples already of Ned Yost. Say, hey, man, the guy lost most of the places he was at, but it's only because you're managing the Milwaukee Brewers, who were mediocre to bad team most of their seasons with him. Like he had like one playoff appearance with them. That was it. Then goes to KC, and they were going through a rebuild, but they hired him because they're like, well, I mean, this guy knows how to work with young guys and stuff like that, and then they seem to find and they knew their window. The Royals knew their window.
They hit
They're like,
it right, man.
They're like, hey, we have like 3 seasons to do this. That's it, and then we gotta tear it all down. And yeah, they knew exactly their window, and then they tore it all down. They're trying to do it again, but we'll see what happens there. But sheesh.
Well, to focus it still on baseball about our team specifically, I am advocating for the firing of my current Yankee manager. How are you feeling about Don?
So the Marlins, well, today
the guy.
The Marlins made a trade today, so we got rid of one of our outfielders, Corey Dickerson,
for Joe Panic, right?
And a reliever for Joe Panic, a prospect like a pitching prospect, and we gave the Blue Jays some Canadian fun bucks. So
Joe Panic's only 30. I thought he was so old.
Yeah, no, he's been in the league since 2014. Won a World Series with the Giants, the last of the 3 of that dynasty or whatever. And then what was it? And then he's been around other. I think where else has he been around?
In the Mets, right?
I think there he went to Toronto, and obviously where we got him from. So he's been hanging out, just chilling. I mean,
that's a cheap salary too.
Maybe playing Japan's #1 strategy card game for sure. What's this play called? They got a new Shadowverse expansion. All right, Shadowverse. There you go. Got beautiful characters, storylines, and animations. So get your. We got a bunch of video games today, man. They know. They know what we.
They heard the post E3 show.
Yeah, for real. McDonald's has stayed away from us since we talked about them.
McDonald's, we are going to try it. I might even try it after the show. I did not eat. You know what I had before I came here? I had 6 Oreo cookies.
Who knows where you'll be on the draft board? We don't know. All right, there's some classics there that have to be up there. The Big Mac is up there.
Been out west. He might have had a Jack in the Box. I've never had a Jack in the Box.
Are we including breakfast items on this as well?
That's dangerous. I don't eat fast food breakfast items that often. But if I did, I would need 3 contenders because that breakfast Baconator is unholy good. The breakfast quesadilla from Taco Bell or whatever is pretty good. I haven't had it for like 4 years.
I'm just saying.
They have like the cinnamon roll thing.
The Egg McMuffin?
Oh, hell no, man. You go for their sausage burritos.
The McGriddle?
I don't know what it is, but their sausage burritos are the best thing for me for breakfast. Those are the big package. And then Burger King has the Excellent burrito, which is like mega huge. Like if you get like super drunk one night, go wild party, and you eat mine.
Oh.
Joe Panic is making $1.8 million. I think that's and he's on.
Oh no, it was a salary dump. The Marlins are freeing some money for. I don't know. The Marlins right now. The Marlins are kind of in a weird position. They're we're in last place in our division, but we're not as terrible as everybody thought would be. They're just a mediocre team. That's it. All right, we just haven't had it together. Guys haven't been healthy, and just not hitting. Our pitching's fantastic. We got a big 3 right now with our our starters with Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez, and the who should be the rookie of the year, Trevor Rogers, at this point.
Right, excellent. I
But
watched a few Marlins games. I saw I say Alcantara, but I'm sure I'm butchering. I've seen him and Trevor pitch. Very impressed.
yeah, you know.
They have control. Man.
By the way, if just to let you guys know, because I am a prominent member of Marlins Twitter, if Sandy Alcantara is visiting your city, hide your kids, hide your wife, because that man is all over Instagram, into the DMs for a bunch of chicks in your city. I'm just saying. And you know, yeah, we're lucky he's good, because I doubt Marlins Twitter would take his horniness very well if he sucked.
Listen. Don't hate that game.
Oh no, hell, hey man, shoot your shot. You're a Major League Baseball player. Go for it, man. Just go for it. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, but
Don Mattingly.
yeah, Don Mattingly. I mean, there's a lot of
4 years.
yeah. Let's see. Yeah, he was hired in 2015, something like that. Yeah, 2015. 2015.
Why does it feel shorter? Are we just giving a mulligan on those first 2 years when he was just sipping Mai Tais?
Well, I mean, let's see. It was the first 3 years. Jose dies. They break up the team. Going through the rebuild now. I mean, I think they're just giving him the benefit of the doubt right now at this point to see what he can do. I mean,
So yeah, he was manager in 2016.
Okay.
So 5-year plan. Jeter came aboard 3 years ago.
let's see, 2018 was first year.
Yeah, because I remember those first 2 years, it was like whatever, because it was the biggest salary dump. And Mattingly's record right now, per Wikipedia, kids, per Wikipedia, so this might not be correct, 784 to 805. So he's a good manager.
Well, remember how he started? He was handed a pretty good Dodger squad.
The best Dodgers squad.
So he
That was so good that they fired him for Dave Roberts.
I mean, he was handed. Remember, he was the Joe Torre's understudy, so that's why he got a pretty good Dodger squad to start. So that's kind of bumped up by all those years in LA, and now here in Miami, all that losing, and here we go. I don't know. I mean, he's stuck around, and maybe he likes Miami. Maybe he likes the opportunity to kind of mold a team in his image, in a sense.
Derek likes him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you got to remember. I mean, Mattingly was there in Jeter's rookie season when he came up, so there's a sentimentality there. We know that.
There's a Joe connection too, because Joe's because Joe Torre is the Andy Reid, I would say, or I would even go further, the Bill Parcells, coaching Brand Street, but except Torre wasn't just managing and all the people that he hired as coaches, how he influences players, but also Joe Torre is like operations, or was operations.
Yeah, Major League Baseball. Yeah.
So he can probably put so much input, so it might have guided, Cheats a little bit. And that even how to be an executive.
I think, and you got to also remember, I think Derek Jeter wants the Marlins to be Yankee South. You know that. I mean, Yankees South, not the Yankees as they are constructed right now, Charles. 90s, early 2000s Yankees South. Let's just say that.
1999, 2001.
Yeah, that's exactly what he wants. He wants the team to operate in that same manner. No flashy whatever, just exactly as it was. So right now, the Marlins have the pitching, and they have the pitching prospects. He's trying to get that core. He wants his Jeter. He wants his Bernie. He wants his Jorge. Okay?
He wants his Alex.
Yeah.
And that man might come up if they offer right for Aaron Judge. I'll pass him on to you guys.
He wants his Tino. Okay? And then he'll trade in for the Paul O'Neill or Scott Brocious or what have you, okay? Or Chuck Knobloch. He'll trade in for those, just those guys right there, and then go from there.
Can I interrupt? Yankees 3-5 over there with the Angels is who we're playing, from what I'm saying. But guess who's on the mound? Jamison Talon. He's in 3 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, and only 2 strikes and 2 homers. 5.35 ERA. I want this man out. It has been this is basically an itch that cannot be scratched. But I think Jeter is building the right team because Yes, code. Can we say the c word? Pandemic
It
season.
does, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. At this point,
Um,
who cares?
yeah, COVID season. You guys still got into the playoffs, which mattered. But you can take a mediocre season, and if you put it in the right place, and I think you have the infrastructure. Who's now, after the first 3 years, realizes who the potential players are, who aren't the players that
Well,
follow up on potential,
that's
and then they
kind of
plug
like
in those free agent
that.
vets.
That's the big question right now with the trade deadline coming up. Is we already got Dickerson out of the way. We have a bunch of other guys that have expiring contracts. You have Adam Duvall, who, I mean, he can rake. He can rake, but obviously because he can rake, he can get very
That's the
cold.
problem.
But
That too.
they're very valuable for a team on a postseason run because if he gets hot at the right time, that's great.
What's
Then
his
you
position that he plays?
he's a right fielder,
Oh,
right
buddy.
fielder, or he stick him at DH if he's in the American League. So there you
That's
go.
what I was about to say. Them Rays and them Red Sox.
Yep.
Looking at that, the
So
Rays probably.
so
That's
there's
good.
Adam Duvall, and the Marlins are trying to make room for these rookies. I mean, they got to play, and so Corey Dickerson's out. I mean, he was already injured, so the Blue Jays are just kind of hoping he recovers, so that they can make a wild card run if they want to, trying to get that second wild card spot. But then there's was it we got that. I mean the Miguel Rojas, which the Marlins say he's pretty much safe because he's basically like the captain of the team. He's probably going to be he's going to get a job with the team somehow, some way. I don't know where, front office. I have no idea, but he's going to be doing something significant with the team. Going heck, he might even be the manager. I could see that happening if the Marlins let go of Mattingly and just have Miguel Rojas as the manager. That could be a thing, but so there's Miguel Rojas, and then I think the big fish is Starling Marte. Starling Marte right now.
Funny he's not blowing up rats on Instagram saying it's from somebody else.
Yes. So Starling Marte, who a bunch of teams would love right now. All right, veteran outfielder, knows how to play, knows how to hit. Pretty much very dependable. Doesn't get injured very often. I could see the Marlins getting a nice bit of prospects for him or something like that. So because he's on an expiring contract, we got him from Arizona last year, and
He was in the cheap too, because I remember that's where Arizona was kind of like shuffling their dudes out when they realized they were once again stuck in the mud.
yeah, I mean, well, the Diamondbacks were kind of weird. It's kind of like they wanted to compete, but they also weren't willing to spend money for it. But somehow the guys played over their heads, which kind of gave them the false sense that they could compete. And then you saw what happened this year.
And they also eat up that contract as Zach Greinke. That's why they sent him out a couple years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you call it kids good on paper.
Yeah. So Marte, and I don't know if we can extend him. He's like, he said all the right things. I love Miami, all this stuff. Yeah, I get that, but you know, some playoff contenders that could really use him, and yeah,
I mean, if you trade him not for prospects but teachable hitters, it's a win-win.
right.
And what people need to realize, the whole purpose of the lineup in baseball is that, what, 1 through 9, yes, we would love home runs from everybody, but everybody just has to know their role.
Yeah.
You're my sluggers, you're my back connectors, you're going to get me to second, you're going to just not strike out.
Yeah.
Don't be like a certain Chris Davis, who all he does is strike out. I don't even know if he's playing anymore.
Yeah, he's in Baltimore.
Still
They
not
have
really-
to play him. He's
that
getting
contract.
paid that much, and they suck anyway. So the might as well tank.
Yeah, it's just terrible. And he's so untradeable. But with a team like that, and right now, technically speaking, NL doesn't have a DH, so you can really just put in those guys that you think would be teachable hitters. So if you gotta let Marte go, but you get two guys who are going to be sustainable, then that's what you do. Because the thing that people need to remember is we look so much on the offensive side of players, but we forget that defensive side. How many errors are you committing in the infield? And how often does it happen? Bad shifting, outfield, when you know how to shift left, right, spread it out a little bit, know to do the cutoff man. So if you can get those serviceable players, not just teachable hitters, but serviceable players who can kind of be good, not Golden Glove winners, because that's not in the perfect world. In the perfect world, you don't have a lineup of all these strong hitters whose slugging is super high, and they're also silver Gold Glove for their defensive fielding. But you can get those vets, you get those guys who the Joe Pags. I remember Joe Pags. I was like, oh crap, I didn't know he was still around because he's kind of insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but maybe that's the guy that can help out, right?
Maybe. I mean, either way, I think it's more of a just freeing up salary, and maybe the Marlins can actually be aggressive this offseason. I'm not even sure. Maybe they keep Marte and try and aggressively keep him on board. I'm not even sure about that either.
That's the problem too, and that's the one thing I need Jeter to understand, because I don't think he understands this. I feel like it's a Miami thing too, because aside from the Heat and the Dolphins, don't spend either. If you make guys good and you build them up, but then you trade guys to free up salary, but at the end of the day you don't pay the people the proper pricing that they want, what it's going to result into is just insustainability. And you're going to have to be back in the cycle of trading guys to free up salary for the next group of prospects. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, you don't want to be the Pirates.
You don't.
Funny, which is where Marte
Don't want to be
was
the Cincinnati
to start his career.
Reds.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are the two teams are, if anything, let me be like the Detroit Tigers, where I had my window of insignificance and I had my window of just putting in all these people, paying the vets, paying the young guys, keep them so long, and then just sucking absolutely, and then getting that no good, dirty cheater as my manager. That was for the Astros, whose name I forgot right now.
AJ Hinch.
AJ Hinch, because he's in hell right now. I love it. I love it.
Detroit.
It's in hell. It's beautiful.
He's got to try and he had to restart, man. He did the same thing. They did the same thing in Houston, where it's like, oh, tanking team, and then they improved and all that stuff. But then, of course, trash cans happen, and now he's got to do it all over again. But he's got to do it the right way. See what happens in Detroit. Oof. Yeah, last thing I want to say, let's see, about the Marlins is it's just the hitting. We got to find guys who can hit. It's so inconsistent.
And you see, I didn't believe you until I watched that game versus them in St. Louis and Macaulay Crap. So I wasn't kidding.
Oh, no.
You have a pitcher who can go 8 deep, and no one can even get on first, man.
Yeah, that series against the Cardinals was incredibly frustrating. They lose 2 games, 2-1, and then lose the last one, 1-0, where pitcher throws a complete game for the Fish. And then you head off to Chicago, and you blow out the Cubs the first 2 games by scoring like 22 runs in those 2 games.
Cubs are the ultimate fraud team. They're going to look good on paper.
Oh,
Central.
David Ross is about to know.
And they're going to get bounced.
Hey, they said you saw it last year. They lost to the Marlins.
Yep.
The Cardinals were beaten by the Pirates last Sunday. The final score was 7-2.
Thanks, Siri. Don't know why you talked about her for some reason, but sure.
They're telling us the Cardinals should be the team.
I think she means that we should probably head on over to a word from our non-sponsors. She's tired of this baseball talk. So, people, places, things, concepts, what have you, that we've been enjoying over the last week, Charles. So, let's see. Where shall I begin? Because you started last time. Andrew's not here, so I should get a second one ready just in case as well. Let's see. What was God, man, I've been consuming a lot of media lately because I wasn't for the longest time, and I've just been catching up on a bunch of stuff, and it's been enjoyable. It's been enjoyable so far. I mean, I played the Doom DLC, played through that already. Played through the Hyrule Warriors DLC. Played through the I got Ninjala DLC because it was like 99 cents, and I had a bunch of leftover whatever on my Switch account. So I'm playing through that at the moment. So there's just been a bunch of stuff that I've kind of been consuming as of late. But what the heck was that? Very sure. Actually, you know what? Let me see. I think what the thing that I've been, let's see, aside from the King, I can't talk about that no more. I swear I have a problem, Charles.
It's an abusive relationship.
I've had it 7 times.
Yeah, I've had it twice, and I was thinking about today.
I,
If I get fast food today because it's a cheat day, but maybe I'll get that spicy chicken sandwich from McDonald's. There, right? We
I
did
mean, I mean,
we did
look.
the thing.
So like today. Today I was driving home, and I was using Waze so I get across the traffic and all that stuff. And on my way, I'm passing by the good Burger King that I found, and I knew this. I had to get home so I could put on the show and all that stuff. But I'm like, I had a thought. I had a brief thought, like, can I stop by, go through drive through real quick and grab a sandwich? Even though I already ate for the day, I'm like I legitimately thought about it. I'm like, no, I must resist, and I
I
did.
feel like they need to make a junior chick king for you, a chick prince, chick princess, whatever works appropriately, because that stuff it's a hunker too, kids.
It is
It's big.
so thick.
It's like the Lexington steel of chicken sandwiches. It's massive.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of been my thing lately with the Chick King and all that stuff. Just trying to resist it. But okay, so the thing I've been re-absorbing stuff from YouTube for sure. One of the accounts that I've been following. Let's see if I can actually type this in, please. There we go. It's called Baseball Doesn't Exist, which is a great name if you want to catch people's eyes who actually like baseball. And this guy makes like short but almost documentary basically style videos about baseball. He talked about this Filipino little league team that got banned, the baseball cheating scandal. Like, he has a really in-depth video as to the whole like sticky foreign substance thing that's gone on. By the way, somebody already had their glove and hat confiscated already.
Yeah, the guy from the Mariners.
Yeah, exactly. That was fun. He's done a great video about Josh Donaldson and why he's so angry. I did one about Jose Fernandez, which I guess kind of tells you what you kind of need, just need to know about the end of his life, which wasn't great. Wasn't great at all. His video about Zach Greinke will make you a Zach Greinke fan. If you're not a Zach Greinke fan right now,
Zach Greinke though.
huh?
We hate Zach Greinke. I don't really.
No, nobody should hate Zach Greinke, but some people used to. But watch his video about Zach Greinke. I highly recommend this channel. He's got a video about why everybody hates A-Rod. That's a half-hour long, by the way.
Oh man.
That is a half-hour long. He's got a Garrett Cole video and how he's cheating.
Hey.
What makes Aroldis Chapman so scary? He's got that video up there as well. He's got a Jose Canseco video. That's always a fun watch. He's got the whole video about why Ted Williams' head is frozen. Somewhere in a lab, I think in Florida. So it just great videos. I've been really enjoying it. His early stuff is a little rough, but you can just see how much he's improved since then. He's got 171,000 subscribers. That used to be a lot smaller, and I think some of the other baseball YouTubers are starting to notice his stuff. So he's already verified now on YouTube, meaning if you ever watch a MLB game on YouTube, he's one of the few people that can actually comment on the game. So, man, I kind of wish they would open that up to the public. I want to see how crazy the comments would be. Because YouTube comments are already terrible enough as it is. I just want to see the free-for-all when there's a baseball game going on. Anyways, yeah, baseball doesn't exist. Promo code. Yes, it does. There. And I'll think of a second one while you do yours, Charles.
Well, I gotta say, I was thinking about using some media content, but I think I could shift that to next week because I'm gonna go into something that is always a favorite subject of mine. That's food. I had never really liked any kind of Greek food. not because of the fact that I think it's nasty, but just because when we get that Suzuki sauce, my stomach's done. I remember going to the Greek place that was at FIU, and then having that, I'm like, I'm not going to class
What
today.
Greek place in FIU? There was a
It
Greek
was
place?
like, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, I never had it. That's for
On the
sure.
main college campus, but
Oh,
so
okay.
the fam, they come and say, "Hey, you want a gyro?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't eat fast food. Fine, whatever. I haven't had one in some time, but a very long time. But I'm on that workout session. I'm going healthy. I'm like, let me get that high bit of meat and protein. But there's not a specific place I go to. Like I think the last time I had a gyro was like 7 years ago. So that goes to show how it's kind of like outdated. But then the family they go and bring me Mr. Gyros, which is a Greek Mediterranean restaurant they have in there, and I got their little it ain't little, but I got their beef and lamb combo gyro, and it is fat and it is stacked and it is marinated perfectly. My mouth is watery right now as we speak with all little ins and outs on that pita
What
bread.
was the place called?
Mr. Gyros.
Mr. Gyros. Where?
In Stewart, so or Orange County, and it's a franchise, so I think they have other ones that are spread without. But it was cracking, man. It was so meaty, it was good. I was telling my paralegal, I'm like, we'll take you there, go from there if you haven't had a lot of gyro food, anything like that. But then I went back again in the week. I was treating it like the McChicken, or not the McChicken. We will see with that spicy crispy chicken. But I was treating it like the King, where I went back and I went in person and I had it Sunday because I'm like, I worked out Saturday. I'm like, let me, if I want to get something heavy but it's not fast food based, let me at least get with that. And they have, Francisco, I kid you not, a hot sauce gyro. Like it's a buffalo sauce gyro. Something I love that. That calls to me. That's my siren song. I'm not Odysseus avoiding the siren. I am Odysseus' voice. Like, oh, I can't help it. Anything that has buffalo sauce, and I didn't even have to get the chicken. They're like, do you want it with the lamb? I'm like, can I get that with the lamb? And I get that with a side of fries, and it was just so good, man. For like $10, it is a hunk of meat with the pita and everything else in there. And I did the Suzuki sauce on size. I did my fries, and I'm like, yeah, I know better. I can't go crazy on this. I looked to see what Suzuki sauce was made of. But Mr. Gyros is the local Greek joint by me. I will go there frequently. It will be part of my rotation when I want something quick to eat, but not fast food. I'm very happy with it. There's some other things that recipes that come in there, but you get your beef, your chicken, your lamb. I've had lamb before. I like lamb. I was in Sour Pond a couple months ago, and down by Clematis, and I had their lamb chops, and I was good. The lamb chops. My brain's going to different things as I'm thinking about food and where mine takes me. But I've enjoyed it. There's new stuff that go in there. As you see with the menu, that's very minimalized, but I think you can see even my love that is the special chicken and gyro lamb that they have in there on top of other stuff, the buffalo lamb. It's just so good. Mr. Gyros, get yourself something healthy-ish than fast food that is not named McDonald's.
It looks like they sell that hot sauce, my friend.
Bruh, like
They
I
sell it
would
separately.
contemplate it. I would contemplate it because it was something that was like the right kind of seasoning, which my eyes lit up. It wasn't hot; it was tasty. And they have other things too. They have baklava, which is their sweets. They have falafel, which is the little chickpea rolls that come into it. I'm a simple man. Give me a gyro and give me some fries, and we're good to go, baby. And and the fries are actually really good too. Crinkle fries, very well cooked, seasoned. They have kebabs. Get yourself a little taste of the Greek Mediterranean, even though I think the people who run it are not Greek whatsoever. I think they're just regular people, right?
I mean, yeah, it's a franchise. So.
It's a franchise, but damn it, what it teaches us is that all ethnicities and nationalities and everything are linked together by seasoning, right? We're going to teach you, kids, we're going to teach you how to season your chicken. No more black pepper. We're going to teach you adobo. That's the same way when it comes to Greek franchise food. I was happy with it. It's going to be part of that rotation, man. And seeing that little, like the beef racks that you see there in the bottom right corner, I like seeing them cut it. I don't know what it is.
Oh no, that is one of those. Okay, there's a Reddit page called Oddly Satisfying.
Yeah, it's oddly satisfying.
In fact, what's your promo code?
Promo code. I guess I gotta do it because it's a Greek thing, but my big fat Greek lunch. How about that?
That's good. That's a good one. Okay. You know what? I'm trying to figure out what I want for a second thing, but you know what? Let's go for our Oddly Satisfying.
Yeah, let's do it. We're going to the down. We're going to the down part here.
It's a Reddit page, a subreddit.
Sports equivalent of it for us.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a it's a group that just posts very oddly satisfying images and or videos that just make you feel good when you see them, you know. So it's just that human nature to see something like let's see, I'm trying to figure out a nice way to show it here. I wish they had like a gallery mode, but I guess it's as close as I can get on the video version. So what we have here, that's an actual ad, but you know, these neat cable arrangements you see there, and it's oddly satisfying just how organized it is, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that. You know, oddly satisfying, I would say, is when you get the paper gliding through with the scissors.
Yeah,
Just some examples of weird stuff of who we are as human beings, kids.
yeah. And you got these sheep, just kind of an aerial view of them being herded.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, something oddly satisfying about that. Tearing up this median, as you can see here, just the way that they're doing it.
I mean, for me, oddly satisfying, seeing the rim of a cup or a can holder or something when you're getting that fountain drink at McDonald's when you're getting your spicy chicken sandwich deluxe, going through it doesn't pour over, but it's right at the same. That's oddly satisfying.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So basically, when we say oddly satisfying, it's just the chef's kiss, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's just
Look at that. The way this guy paints the stripes on every Rolls Royce for the last 18 years. It's his only job, and he's painted
perfect calligraphy.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I have like trash handwriting. I think somebody who has the first time writing anything has better handwriting than I do. Perfect calligraphy, perfect key. Oh man, oddly satisfying. Coloring book within the lines. That's what this guy's doing right here.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, this marbles falling down on this thing.
Oh no, it was like oddly satisfying because I think I tried it once as a kid and I failed. Story of my life. Stacking up the dominoes in like a row and they all fall in sequence perfectly.
Oh yes, yes indeed. That's one of those. The way this guy just jumps through the ropes. It's just good whenever you just kind of, I don't know if it's kind of like a visual version of what do they call that, ASMR or whatever, where you just kind of just need to chill. You just need to chill.
No. The ultimate. And it's very rare that it does it, but the ultimate oddly satisfying when you're at the gas station and you're pumping your gas and it hits zero.
Oh, when you just
with the monies.
Yeah, and you get it right on the first shot.
You kids are complaining about $3 gas, but this is our opportunity to have an oddly satisfying moment. At least in Florida, at $2.99 where I live, I can get it at the 3. At the 3, put in my 10 gallons, $30. I would. Pepper needs new shorts.
Oh yeah. Okay, so last, I guess one more board because I feel like it's apropos for us is Forbidden Snacks, where they show things.
No, what?
It looks like whipped cream. It's whipped copper tone.
I thought you were gonna tell me like pineapple on pizza, bro. I thought stuff that's gonna be like literally killing us.
There, see? One is chocolate, one is for the dishwasher. Look at that.
Forbidden smoothies. What do they have as that?
Garnier Fructis.
Oof,
Shampoo.
buddy.
Yep. Let's see.
Probably the same water smelling scent that's in your Jolly Rancher.
Pulled pork. That looks like pulled pork right there.
Oh man.
This is only gonna make you hungry.
Yeah.
Let's see. Forbidden gum. Let's see. Forbidden Cocoa Puffs. Forbidden peanut butter milkshake. Oh man, I remember the peanut butter milkshakes I would make after my CrossFit workouts. Get that protein in there, get the peanut butter, get the bananas in there, get the flaxseed all up in that. Ooh, man. Bowels are fantastic the next day.
Healthy fiber, kids.
Yeah, for reals. Okay. Forbidden cookies and cream milkshake. There we go. All right. Forbidden chicken. There you go. All right.
Fire
So
log. So
there's
if Yankee Candle made a Colonel Seven Spices thing, you would buy that, right? I'm not the only person who's insane.
if what?
If the Colonel and Yankee Candle teamed up to have their fragrance be the
Oh,
Colonel's, was it 7 or 11 spice? I think.
11 herbs and spices.
Yeah, I would buy that. And
Save
my
the rat.
entire house would just smell like greatness.
Yeah. Oh no, I think I'm surprised they haven't actually done that because KFC is about to. Is KFC is about to. Weren't they gonna release a gaming PC? I think they were. I think that
I
was
thought it was the Colonel that was doing something with
yeah.
it.
Anyways, so yeah. Reddit, forbidden snacks and oddly satisfying. Promo code oddly tasty.
Oddly tasty. There you go.
Okay, and lightning is just absolutely crazy out here right now. Yeah, it was great that McDonald's was sponsoring us during that segment. So
We promise you, it will come in time. If I have to do it, I'll do it. I just don't want to. It's like giving an ex a chance. Like, hey, change. You're like, I don't know, man. That was like so long ago. And then you're like, please, I've changed first, and then you haven't.
Can we?
I'm going on the word of be you and Freddie.
Yeah. Okay. So can we talk about Scottie Pippen?
Oh yeah, now it's time. We got that out of the way because I think he's gonna take us to the cage.
Because let's see, we're an hour 22, and man, what is ever since The Last Dance popped out and we saw his hissy fit when he didn't take that last shot, like he is. My goodness gracious, man!
He's coming at everybody, man.
He is so angry.
And I don't know. I think it's the hairdo. I don't remember him having the kind of like the style that he had now. But I don't follow Scottie Pippen. I don't follow any NBA player. Once you retire, and you're not like inside the NBA or anything like that, game over, right? But he's coming in. He still got a groove back, got a new look going on. He's gonna throw some flames on every single person living. Tony Kukoc, you better watch out.
Mm.
This guy's gonna stab you, bro. Is Scotty too hottie from WWE World? There you go, because he's too hot to handle right now. So how do we want to approach Scotty first? The Twitter war with KD? The calling Phil Jackson racist in spirit?
I want to start with KD because we here at the show, we love KD.
We love it.
I love Kevin Durant. I love his whole demeanor with the media. I love his whole demeanor on Twitter.
After him.
Exactly, the real MVP. And Kevin Durant is still the real MVP. And I don't understand Scottie Pippen coming after Kevin Durant. Why? Why isn't he just enjoying his retirement?
He's blaming KD for Brooklyn losing because he airballed the last shot. Where I'm like, we take away the whole idea that KD was kind of like doing everything to help that team be relevant when James Harden wasn't doing well and Kyrie didn't show up. If anything, you can't throw the blame on the other two guys who are supposed to be there, but you got to throw on KD because he airballed. It happens. Not that I like it, but it happens because here's the thing: if he airballed it, okay, he still missed it. But if he shot and he connected with the rim, he still might miss. Is that still KD's fault?
Nah.
They were just destined to lose that game. Plain and simple. Destined to lose that series. Plain and simple. And we're going to hate on it because, let me ask you this, my good sir. Now that KD has not been in my series, have I just given a crap about any other players aside from Chris Paul? That was by default. He was my alternate to the dance.
Yeah.
But I would say Durant made this playoffs interesting to how he was forcing himself to succeed in spite of nobody else being there.
Right. Exactly. No. The KD was trying to pull off I guess LeBron pre-Miami Heat.
Is Scotty angry that KD instead wasn't trying to emulate his Michael-less year and getting swept in the first round? Not swept, but out in the first round. What was it, 1995?
Four.
All right.
94.
I'm gonna check that as you eat on that, because I think he was out in the first round if I remember correctly.
Because 94 was when the Knicks went to the finals, so it had to be that year. 95 was when the Magic defeated the Bulls in the first round. That's when Jordan came back at the end of that season. So yeah, it's 94. It's 94. 94 playoffs. But yeah,
I'm bringing up the statistics to kind of talk smack about it, but it just kind of, and you know, KD claps back, man. He's the one that told Michael Rappaport.
I mean,
he was threatening him. Remember?
Okay, so here's what Scottie said. Yeah, has he surprised? I forgot how Scottie Pippen sounds, but
The Bulls lost to the Knicks in the second round. So basically, he pulled a you, Scottie.
yeah.
Instead, it wasn't a Tony Kukoc going from there.
Has he surpassed LeBron? Nah, he tried to beat the Milwaukee Bucks instead of utilizing his team. LeBron James would have figured out how to beat them. KD is a shooter, scorer, but he doesn't have what LeBron has. That's one of the things he said. Then he kept talking. He had some other stuff here.
That's right, because I sent that to you. I'm like, goon.
Yeah. KD, as great as his offense was, he didn't know how to play team basketball. Was he even watching the game? Not even sure.
No, he wasn't. He was sipping on that, some nice red wine.
He kept trying to go punch for punch. And of course, KD, not saying much. Not saying much. All he had to say was, did the great Scottie Pippen, I don't know why I'm doing this in Sonic's voice from Sonic Adventure 1. Didn't the great
Supersonic.
Didn't the great Scottie Pippen refuse to go in the game for the last second shot because he was in his feelings? I love KD.
And you think that's
his coach drew up the play for a better shooter?
And you think that's where it would have ended?
Oh no! The saga continued.
God.
I can't believe this spun off into this other thing. Mind you, this is a game that happened almost 30 years ago now. So this happened, and let's see, this happened June 24th. It is 5 days later, right?
Yep.
5 days later today. And it's like, okay, all right. So Scottie Pippen, just wanting to be relevant still, everybody gets on him. We saw The Last Dance. We saw what he did with the 94 team, and then, failing to beat the Knicks without Jordan. And then he got all up in his feelings, as KD said. We saw that he signed a horrible contract early on in his career. Instead of, and regretted that, obviously. And that was kind of like a big deal for him towards the end of that last season with the Bulls. And, he
doesn't have shoes made after him the way Jordan's are.
Yeah, he's holding out and all that stuff. Like, I mean,
didn't star in Space Jam, the sequel, and so was LeBron James.
Yeah, Scottie felt like, was it Nightwing? A little bit? Still want to be under Batman's shadow? Trying to do his own thing?
Side note, Dick Grayson's my favorite DC character, so
yeah.
We better cross that territory there.
Yeah, that's why I kind of mentioned it. So
I would, no, because you have to understand, Dick could assume the mantle when Bruce died. We're going real nerdy here. Bruce was killed in one of Darkest, whatever. So Dick did at least assume the mantle. You had the Grant Morrison run of Batman or Robin coming into it. You have Black Mirror, which was like a storyline there. Scottie, I would say, this is going to be some sacrilegious stuff that some people aren't going to be happy to. Scottie was basically having to be either the Human Torch or the Thing. If Reed Richards and Sue Storm went off on vacation, they had to go and some stuff. he was basically, even better, for modern day Marvel stuff, he had to kind of be War Machine if Tony Stark took a break. He knows how to use the suit, but he doesn't know how to outthink his opponents. There, but I think that's better. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Because, Scottie, there's a little bit of that edge. When Michael's gone, it's like, this is my team now. And it's like, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Because I think Mike took a lot of that. Because Phil is not an easy person to work with.
Right.
Anybody who's been coached by Phil Jackson will presumably tell you this. But there's a lot of people who happen to be coaches or assistant coaches in the NBA and former relatively notorious players who are still loved, dead or alive, um, that became better in the field because of it. Derek Fisher became a coach. He was the brunt of that.
That's true.
Tyronn Lue was a former Laker.
That is
Brian
true as
Shaw.
well.
We don't remember
Indeed.
that name a little bit, coming
Yeah.
into it because they took that brunt of leadership. They call him the Zen Master because basically he just plays those head games. Scottie didn't do it. And I think sometimes Scottie might feel that regret too of what happened at the end of his career because he finished out in Trailblazers, right?
Let's see. He was on. Was he? I think he was on that Joe Blazers team.
Yeah.
I think he was. Oh, he went to the Rockets, and that was a disaster with him playing with Chuck.
Oh, man.
That was a disaster. Him, Charles Barkley, and Hakeem were on that team because I think
and he
Clyde Drexler had already retired by that point.
Yep, and he came back for that swan song for Chicago, but he wasn't even utilized.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
It's
Scottie
just
has a lot of regrets about the way his career played out, even though he still made the Basketball Hall of Fame and won 6 rings.
I mean, indisputably.
And made his money. He made money, all right? He didn't make as much money, but, he made money.
That's when you blame your agent.
Exactly,
Not my fault that you couldn't, hold out.
17 seasons.
Oh, man, this is some trash money, though.
17 seasons, 6 NBA championships, 7-time All-Star, a bunch of all
Would you
defensive
believe he
and all that
made-
stuff.
He made, get this, he
Dream
made
team.
13 seasons with the Bulls, a total $32 million in salary. With the 4 seasons with the Blazers, was
Yeah.
only 66.
Yep.
That was undervalued. But that's the business sometimes.
And then he played with the Bulls, the Rockets, the Blazers, and then what is this? He went to Finland to play for a season?
Was it post? Yeah, it looked like.
Yeah. And then
just to
Sweden?
get back into it.
Yeah.
That's 2008.
I don't know what they offered him to play for whatever. I don't even know what happened, but he did that. So Scottie just wants attention, man. He just
And then we get to Phil.
Yeah.
And so he calls Phil basically a racist on the Dan Patrick Show.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not here to comment whether or not Phil Jackson's a racist. Phil Jackson's a dick, but he has been. He's got enough clout throughout the years, not just for being a coach with the Knicks, the Bulls, and the Lakers, but also as an executive for the Knicks.
Yeah.
But we also kind of respect Phil because he's kind of like the Zen master. But then he was kind of on there saying that, and I'm paraphrasing. I listened to it once before the show today, and I was like golfing at the maniacalness of it and how Dan Patrick took it in stride. I don't know if you watched it and listened to it, but basically saying the drawing of Tony Kukoc on that last shot was inherently racist. And I think when you hear him further talk, it was kind of like the boost of Zoe ego. You have me in the season doing something, and I was in the candidate for being MVP. I'm like, boy, soft landing from that high throne, mofo. Jesus.
Oh, man.
It's kind of great because I'm like, and I think they said you don't know him in the locker room, which is fair. You don't know anybody in the locker room, but it was so unprovoked because I think that's the first time I've heard. And there's a lot of people, and mind you, reverence is reverence, but when you're out of the league, you might not get a backlash. But it just kind of came out of left field for me, and I'm like, holy crap, Scottie! I just view it as Scottie's on that. That level of burning. He maybe he was jealous of Kevin Durant of how he was petty, which I aspire to be, and he's like, I'm gonna amp it up and show you. I'm gonna show you the Pippen petty. It's admirable, but he's also kind of the show's named after him. He's getting a long segment of it, but he's also our Gottlieb Goon for the week because the sub stuff not kind of makes sense. It kind of feels more like a hit trick reaction, but no bueno.
Scottie. Well, I can't wait to see what happens over the course of this week after this.
You know what I'm waiting? I'm waiting for the Laker clapback.
Mm.
Because Michael's never going to talk about it,
Oh, no. He's way too
what is
above
a king
this.
to a god in that
Yeah,
mentality.
he's way too above this. Michael Jordan is very much like, he's in that pantheon of athletes. Derek Jeter, Wayne Gretzky, they know.
But you know
they
who I'm
just
waiting
know.
for, and who's on tonight? Shaquille O'Neal. Because Chuck's going to say some stuff. Chuck's going to say it. It's going to come out there. You all should be literally watching it later tonight when the Hawks go against the Bucks on TNT. Because
I mean, so
they're
okay,
gonna
we got to
attack.
think yeah, okay, so just the context. All right, so I mean, Kenny played for the Rockets during that
Yeah.
time. That's when they won their back-to-backs while with the Jordanless Bulls and uh whatever. And then of course Shaq played the Bulls in that 95 first round that eliminated the Bulls and then kind of restarted Michael Jordan's fervor for basketball and just annihilating people. So there's that. Then you had Charles Barkley, play with Scottie, and they didn't get along. And there's videos about it. There's a SB Nation video, a beef history between Scottie Pippen and Charles Barkley. So that'll be pretty fun to hear if Charles, goes back to some of that experience with Scottie. He's like, hey man, Scottie's always been felt like the eternal understudy. And then Shaq.
I want to
Played
hear
for Phil
Shaq.
too. Played for Phil too. And let's see, Shaq. Was there anybody
Love his coaches fully.
was there anybody that played on the Bulls and the Lakers that could attest to that too? I'm not even sure.
Not to my knowledge.
Trying-
But, I mean, remember the whole thing with Shaq and Phil was, favorite child, Kobe.
Yeah.
And how Shaq basically wanted to choke out Kobe, and Phil was like, "I'm gonna step on in." But I want to hear what Shaq would say because, like, Shaq kind of keeps it. Well, that's why I like Inside the NBA. They're all very real. Kenny's the only one who kind of does it for the PR purposes to kind of tone it down a little bit because
Right.
he's got the TV show and stuff like that. Ernie's just there to like facilitate and crack me up. But I want to see what happens. And also, I think Chuck has a lot of respect for Mike too, and I think he has a lot of
Well, of
respect for Phil.
course.
I think he kind of wishes he had that
Yeah,
coaching.
they're golf buddies. They're whatever,
Yeah. And then I don't think Scotty has as much friends post retirement in that sense. I'm speculating, of course. We're all speculating here, folks.
Right.
It's just this is what it took us so far back, or we were taken so far back by these statements, that I'm like, I have to speculate. It's gonna be fun.
Oh,
But I think people are gonna watch Inside the NBA because wouldn't you want to see what those statements were like? I would.
oh no, people got on the DVR. Don't worry.
My
Don't
favorite
worry.
thing that I've seen on the Twitter is Kobe looking down from heaven when Scottie
That's
was
what I was
so
gonna ask you.
crazy.
That's a great one. Oh man. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Score updates. Let's just real quick, and then I can jump a little bit into Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals, just a little bit, not that much.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Hawks are up 15-9 right now. Start out here in the first quarter. Game 2 between Montreal and Tampa is tomorrow. If it's another blowout, then just hand the cup to the Lightning already.
I can't have Andrew win.
Well.
It's just very disheartening.
Well, we talked about that. Actually, I'll talk about that afterwards, about the conversation me and him had about the final. But Yanks are spanking the Angels at this moment,
What's the score?
10-3.
Jesus?
Yeah. There you
Did
go.
Aaron Boone hear my rage?
Oh boy! So now even Tyone can mess up that, can he? I don't
I
think
mean, I don't know, man. He's still pitching.
Yeah, well, let's see. Marlins are down 1-0 to the Phils, as Trevor Rogers is doing all that he can with that 2.07 ERA, and yet the Marlins just can't effing get a hit. They only have 2 hits right now. Okay, I guess RBI single to Andrew McCutcheon, so I guess he got in trouble early on in the game in the first inning, and he's been lights out since, because the Phillies only have 1 hit on them, and the Marlins can't score. So F me, and they're playing in Philly, which is a noted hitters ballpark. Frustration. Nats up 4-2 on the Rays. The Blue Jays up 3-0 on the Mariners. The Red Sox winning 5-4 at the moment against the Royals. San Diego 3-1 over Cincinnati. Braves and Mets 0-0. The Orioles winning 1-0 over the Astros. That's probably not going to last long.
Twins up 2-1 on the White Sox. That probably won't last long either. Brewers up 1-0 on the Cubs. Cardinals and Diamondbacks are playing. Pirates and Rockies, and then a bunch of other late West Coast games. So there you go. That's the baseball stuff. That's what's going down. So, okay. So let's see. We got Stanley Cup final. Game 1 happened. I was hoping Montreal would put up a little bit more of a fight. Just a little bit. Just
It's just one game.
I know. And
But
yes,
it's not the game you want to lose that badly.
and it wasn't that bad after 2, all right? It's 2-1. So okay. So Montreal has some life there, but then the 3 goals in the third period for the Lightning, and it's like, ugh, please. Not like this. Not like this. But yeah, me and Andrew, we had some lunch yesterday at Tap 42. Got myself a nice chicken sandwich over there. Very nice. Made me feel real guilty for eating it, but chicken tender sandwich. Got avocados.
Oh, is that what you sent me a picture of?
Yeah, that's what I sent you a picture of, man.
Bastards.
Big old sandwich. Huge. I couldn't even finish the damn sandwich, actually. I was that full. I couldn't finish my fries or the sandwich. Really, I was on the second half of that, and just couldn't stomach all of it. Oh man, I feel real guilty for feeling that way, but at the same time, my stomach has shrunk. So there you go. Anyways, we were talking about the final. I'm like, how do you feel, Andrew? How do you feel? Because for me, it's the same Chris Paul thing, right? It's like, hey, it'd be nice to see Chris Paul, get to the final and maybe win one, right? Maybe. And the same thing for Carey Price. Carey Price is my age, which is like one of those like, what have I done with my life type of moments. But it's like he's 33. He's played since he was 20 years old, I believe. So he's been in the league a long time. He's one of the few goalies that was like one of those prodigy goalies that actually lived up to the hype. That was just like a very. There's not many goalies. A lot of times the goalies kind of really have to like marinate for a long time in the AHL before they come up and be lights out in the NHL. But Carey Price didn't have to stay that long down there after moving up from junior. So I think he played maybe 1 season in the AHL, and that was it. He was full time in Montreal and won Vezina trophies and all that stuff. He's got the hardware, but just never. The Montreal just never had a team that got a chance to go all the way, and now the team that was probably the most improbable to get there does get to the Stanley Cup final, and here he is with his probably. I don't know if I can say it's his lone shot at the cup. I mean, Montreal's got some nice young pieces and that type of stuff. But I don't know if these guys are just playing in over the heads and it's just this miracle run that's happening. But this is a shot. He's got it. And I asked Andrew, how do you feel, man? He was like, man, if the Lightning hadn't won last year, I'd probably be like, F Carey Price. But he kind of feels a little sentimental for the guy. Hey, man, this guy, he's a really nice dude. I mean, a lot of hockey players are really nice dudes. But, yeah, even your beloved Brad Marchand, Charles.
Love me some Brad Marchand.
He's a really, he sticks up for people off the ice. Okay? All right. So, I want to see Carey Price win it. I'm tired of Tampa Bay, obviously.
Preach.
At the same time, I fear what would happen if the Montreal Canadiens once again won the Stanley Cup championship. They have the most in league history. Because we live in Florida. In South Florida. And the inundation, the locusts that are the Quebecois that come down for the Habs games when they face the Panthers and even the Lightning too is notorious.
if they're the Stanley Cup champions, I cannot imagine the ratio that would be. Because heck, tickets are cheaper down here than they are up there for those people. It's actually cheaper for people to pay for a trip all the way down to Florida to watch a Habs game here and get better seats than they could ever get up in Montreal. So
You know when it's going to be unbearable in
Yeah.
December when the snowbirds come down, of course.
and you know that soccer Olay song?
Ole, ole, ole.
Yeah, that's their they appropriated it as their thing. So that's what they chant during games, and it's annoying as hell. I can't imagine what would happen. So that's what I fear. But at the same time, Tampa's hubris is getting too much for me right now.
And it's not just Tampa's hubris for the hockey team, is that there's a possibility that Tampa Bay goes back to being a great team setup, possibly, because the Lightning, the Buccaneers, who brought back everybody, and maybe the Rays if they go through the whole thing. But granted, there's no Tampa Bay because you didn't win it all.
Yeah.
Right? Same logic we use it. But Andrew is reliant on it with his misinformation, with his fake news, not victories. I raise you Tampa Bay, then I bring you the whole LA championships where Dodgers and Lakers, but football there was nothing with the Chargers or the Rams. You have to complete the holy trinity of the major sports in the country.
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah, you need at least three. If your city has three of all four, you need at least three of the four.
Yeah, you can't get. Man, I mean, and Florida doesn't count either because you can't go Florida. You could if you really want to sell it out, but Tampa at least has this whole thing. Florida, it's just because there's no Florida basketball team except for the Miami. We don't count the Orlando. We don't count. We talked about contraction and expansions. I can live without the Orlando Magic. Aside from that 1 year run with Stan Van Gundy, going to the finals.
I could see somebody
2010.
buying the Magic and just relocate them to Tampa.
Right?
I mean,
But why not?
the Raptors played there for a season.
Yeah, and that's the problem. There could be that potential, but just give me the Supersonics. It's more interesting for Charles anyway.
Yeah, well,
But we don't want Tampa Bay. But you have to ask yourself this: there's always the possibility that there's difficulties with border travel, so maybe you don't get the Quebecians coming in, but you have to deal. And I would say Andrew was fair when the Lightning won. He was good. It's when the Rays.
It was the
and
Rays
the
that.
fucking
Yeah.
years.
Oh no, yeah, the Rays thing. I'm like, all right, you guys lost. Come on now.
Well, no, I mean, we still did not release that group chat setup of us being like, hey guys, here's the thing of Andrew trying to convince us that if it's too late to be a bandwagoner, but he didn't send the final forms properly.
Yeah.
He has until September 1st to send the
he's
proper forms to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
definitely not a Jaguars fan.
Definitely not a Jaguars fan. He goes back and forth on that. Then he remembers.
I want to see that be a train wreck. That as a Florida State fan, I want that to be a train wreck.
Buddy.
Absolutely.
Like if the Titans lose any game, the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm just gonna. You give me a 15-minute segment, and I will just denounce everything. The team that I've been, big loyal fan to for the last, how old am I? 13 years, 14 years, when I fully got I declared them as a team coming into it, on the cusp of Steve McNair, Titans history coming into it because I got football a little bit later in life. I can't lose Urban Meyer. I've hated Urban Meyer since 2005. There's people who have hated him ahead of that. Can't do it, man. Can't do it.
Well, I know what you can do. Can head to the cage.
And we're going to head to the cage. So welcome everybody to your weekly Truplex, The Cage with Charles. We take the haters. We take the lovers. We take everything when we go into the cage because right now it's a little bit of everything. It's just stories of the soap opera, the fighting, men and women chasing championships, legacy, trying to beat the holy hell out of each other, trying to climb up the ladder to the brass ring, grab that brass ring, go from there, trying to prove your worth. Prove your value. Get your TV time. Wrestling is not fake, Francisco. It is staged. It is a scripted fight. It is all those things that we mentioned. I just did it in reverse because you guys were expecting it. And what you gotta learn is just like The Prestige, the movie with Christopher Nolan. I just still like it to this day. You gotta give them something that they're expected, but they don't expect that. But it's not the actual quote from the movie. That's how I digested it from Michael Caine's point.
Hold on, Charles. Andrew actually posted a basketball question.
What?
Basketball fans, that not on the chat, but on Twitter. Basketball fans, poll time. Do you consider it an air ball if it misses the rim, and then in parentheses only hits the net, or does it have to miss the basket altogether?
I feel like I just got hit by a steel chair because Andrew asking these questions, kids, that's like me asking something about hockey that's like very specific.
Okay, this was 2 days ago. I don't know why.
Oh.
I never saw that. But regardless.
Scottie Pippen. That's what his reach of pettiness knows no bounds. He is, Calamity Ganon, going over a high roll, getting the poor, hockey farmer that is Andrew. And I think an air ball is just an air ball. It's like pornography. You know when you see it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, most of the people that said missed the basket completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I can understand the concept that the net is the basket, but we're talking about an inner entry. So if it's under the basket, it's missing the basket. The net's just there to be facilitator.
Right.
The net has no role.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just to make sure the ball doesn't fly all over the place.
Yeah, and just a kind of like segueing back into the cage after I just hit the steel chair coming into it. Wrestling's kind of weird right now. Wrestling's kind of interesting. Wrestling's kind of weird. We'll go with the little ones because right now it's the smaller promotions that haven't got enough traction in my eyes. Ring of Honor, they're doing stuff. We talked about last week. Impact, they're doing stuff. We talked about last week. Slammiversary, Sami Callihan, Kenny Omega. That's coming on through. I don't have much for that right now. Tommy Dreamer's back. He reinstated Sami Callihan. AEW, slow burn is the words coming into it. Eddie Kingston took shots after Dynamite that happened on Friday or Saturday because right now they're the NBA playoffs, so they're being preempted elsewhere. Because what happened? This is where we're going to focus on. WWE released more people. And I'm used to it. I've taken the pain, all right? Right now, it's just suppositories for the hemorrhoids. You got me good. You got me dirty last year a little bit, Vince. It was still sensitive. And I was still sensitive when you released Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe. But then last week, you released like 11 wrestlers.
Yeah, we got
and I already know the process.
Right here, dear Lord.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to give you, I don't want to call it obituaries to bring that bad juju, but I'll tell you what hurt me. Tyler Breeze, Fandango, part of the Fashion Files, Fashion Popos. Love them. Cracked me up. They're also part of the Up Down, Left Right gaming stream that WWE does, head by Xavier Woods. I would love the tournaments. I would love the game they're doing. They would do Uno with Woods, Breeze, Cesaro, and Adam Cole, and now he's gone. And it hurt, and it stung badly. Everrise, Chase Parker, Matt Martell. I liked them. I thought they were goofy. I thought they were funny. They were offbeat for me, NXT. Tony Nese, I'm glad for him. He's been kind of like wasted away. He was a former Cruiserweight champion. Arya Daivari, more on 205 Live coming into it. We're used to that pain. And then they released like Kurt Stallion and then August Grey, but those guys. A lot of the Cruiserweights, or guys who could be classified in the Cruiserweights, got released because Matt Martell, Chase Parker used to be on 205 Live. Fandango, not so much. He was just injured a lot. Breeze, he did a little bit of everything. He's an NXT love. Going there. They got rid of Killian Dane, which kind of surprises me because his wife is Nikki Cross and she is on Raw. And also he was teaming up with, God, I know his OG name, Rockstar Spud, but it's Drake Maverick coming in there. So nothing really sung hard aside from Breeze, but I'm just so kind of like done with it. And then what they're saying is for budget cuts. I was talking to my buddy Tony about it. He's like, I'm just sick of all these releases. I can't wait for them to make the sell. Remember my prediction was who? Who's going to buy WWE? Disney. I'm keeping to it. I want to hold on to that 2 years from the sale's complete. But then I looked into the businessman inside of me. They also got rid of the Bollywood boys. But I also got rid of Marina Shafir and Arturo Rouse. And that's interesting because they premiered The Diamond Mind last week, which was Roddy Strong leading with what's his name? Tyler Rust and Hideki Suzuki as a wrestler. So Maria Shafir and Arturo Rouse have some MMA background into it. So you think Diamond Mine is going to be like the MMA, but I guess they change things last minute, because that's what happens in a lot of creative being the people who are planning with the stories that they're going to do. But I was talking to my buddy of mine, like, I kind of see it though, because these are guys that are flattering. Vince doesn't want to pay you anymore, and maybe Vince doesn't view you as exceptional. What you see is that it's a lot of guys who are either in the cruiserweight portions, which is 205 Live, also under the NXT umbrella because it's the NXT Cruiserweight Championship now, or the NXT wrestlers. So if Vince says, give me a list of names of guys you're going to get rid of, H probably has to give it over. Part of it is probably because there's just too many wrestlers right now. You're not utilizing everybody fully. So why do you want to keep continuing paying people to be in catering, even though you're the one putting them in catering? And I can understand the argument that, well, if you gave them something to do, they wouldn't be in the back on catering. But if I don't think that you're a prospect, the guy or the gal to put on TV, and that you're worth it to put on TV under evaluations, then what's the purpose of even trying? Why am I going to give you stop-start pushes? I don't even want you there at all. Some of these guys have been injured a lot. Fandango. Some of these guys have been on the main roster and brought back down. Breeze. But I think Breeze is a talent. I just don't think his character works in today's modern era for Vince. Vince is just stupid. I'm just going to say it like that. You know how I feel about him. But a lot of those releases sometimes are contracts and everything like that. And you see the Thanos meme, our Cena and Lesnar coming back. Edge came back. We'll talk about that in a second. Maybe it's monetary funds to bring other people. But one of the reasons I can see these budget cuts that have happened is because these people are not being utilized fully. So what's the point? The other bit of it is that the world is opening back up, which means people and wrestlers on the indie development scene, or maybe getting other contracts at Impact, or maybe even AEW. Granted, those who are contracted could be there for a while, but Ring of Honor maybe, or people at AEW that was on a working contract, maybe Vince, H, Samoa Joe, because it's H, Samoa Joe, and John Laurinaitis who are part of the creative talent relations for evaluations, along with William Regal. Maybe they're just trying to bring in the new batch. A lot of people come back to WWE. It's weird, but if you could pop them out, try to bring in something new, because you want to. Who are you trying to keep everything fresh for? The fans. And I can say, hey, wrestling has not been fresh, but wrestling's not been fresh for me because of the storylines. It's because I've been getting the same damn matches over and over and over and over again, man, repetitively. And then we're gonna get put on to like the pay-per-views. I don't want that stuff. So yeah, this one stings. They've all stung, but I'm kind of like jaded now, like a suppository. I know I gotta do it, man. But ease up them hemorrhoids so they pop out, right? Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Right now, NXT is going on, and they have a title match for the Great American Bash, which is next week. It's basically their live event program because they're not trying to do too much pay-per-views, but they're going to do Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell are going to be defending their women's tag team championships against Zoe Stark and Io Shirai. Gives Io something to do. Obviously, I think Indy and Candice are going to win, but give something for Io to do before she's formally called up to Raw, I think would be the safe bet, is my guess. Allows you to kind of keep Raquel Gonzalez to find out who's going to be her next contender for her women's championship, the next the Great American Bash match that they're going to have that I know that is confirmed is Johnny Gargano versus Karrion Kross, which should be excellent. And then you'll have Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole in a match as well. I think that's a specialty match, but I'm just going to kind of reserve that for the cage next week. I might actually request to do it as an opener because NXT is on Tuesdays at 8 to 10. We do our shows 7 to 9, so I don't want mostly. So maybe I don't want to get that spoilers in there. Get spoiled in my stuff would be interesting. Or I could just watch the damn thing as we do the show instead of playing Dragon Ball FighterZ as well as playing in the background. I just gotta get through some of those stories, but I'm interested in seeing what they're doing from there. Raw, SmackDown. What are we building up to? Money in the Bank. To give some background information for those who've not listened the last 3 years about Money in the Bank. Basically, briefcase put up in the top for the men's and the women's divisions, where a couple wrestlers from SmackDown, a couple wrestlers from Raw are all competing in a ladder match. Whoever gets that briefcase gets a guaranteed championship match at their time, location, of choosing, so they can set it to a pay-per-view match if they want to, or they could be more smart and more opportunistic and set that for right after their champion has had this great intensive grueling match and get cashed in on. It's an excitement. Last year was kind of bad because we had Otis winning it in a cinematic match, and then he lost it at SummerSlam, or was it Hell in a Cell, to The Miz, and The Miz waited, but he cashed in on Drew, so that was a good thing. Yay, Drew wasn't my champion anymore. How wonderful. But there could be terror coming because we've been doing some qualifier matches there. So what we have on Raw, we know that Riddle has qualified. We know that well, who else has qualified? That's a good question because I know them off the top of my head, but I want to get it exactly correct because I know I'll mess up. I'll talk about some things in the side as I look up into it. We know at Money in the Bank, the confirmed WWE Championship match is going to be Kofi Kingston versus Bobby Lashley. I'm super excited for that because I think the storyline has been excellent. Um, Bobby killed Woods the other day, and I have a sneaky suspicion that Kofi is going to lose, but if a certain person wins the Money in Bank for SmackDown, a Big E who is part of the New Day, that might lead us to getting a Big E cash in to go specifically against them. All right, I have some competitors' names, so I can take that debriefer and go from there. So right now for Raw, we have Ricochet. Fantastic. Him and Morrison, I sent you the tweet yesterday. Did you have the opportunity to watch that?
Hold on, let me see. You sent me a tweet, or you put it on the
Yeah, in the chat.
One second. I will look at it right now.
Yeah, because it was amazing. So Ricochet and John Morrison are two high-flying athletic guys who do things with their body that is against the law of gravity. The fact that they're going to be in a ladder match gets me so excited because it makes me think that
Wrestling is
Danger,
gymnastics. There we go.
yeah, wrestling is gymnastics. It makes me really feel that it's going to be super duper good. And it was just amazing. So we have them in there. We have Riddle, who I'm a fan of. We have Biggie on SmackDown qualifying. We also have, and I'll just cut to the chase, Drew McIntyre is going to get the brief. He is a entrant in the Money in the Bank match. My concern is there's some theories out there that Drew's going to win the ladder
Dear
match.
Lord.
Amazing, right?
Oh my goodness gracious!
Amazing. You and I can't do that. That's
No.
why I give people some
All
some
the
respect.
bones in the body break.
So basically, what happened was Ricochet cross-bodied from like the top of the ring post onto Morrison, who was sitting outside, and it was great because these two were just kind of feeling it out, because it was leading to a 10 count. So they both got counted out, but it's one of those things that made sense, and it's to kind of put both guys over and not have anybody lose to make them look weak in the eyes of their Money in the Bank ladder match that they have going on for everybody else. But Drew, the theory out there is Drew is going to win the briefcase and cash in on Bobby and get the championship match, because remember, he lost to Bobby at Hell in a Cell, and the condition was if he lost to Bobby, he can't challenge for the championship as long as Bobby's champion. But if you have the contracts you can do any way, shape, or form. That disgustes me. It's basically like having an ulcer, but what gives me chronic diarrhea is the idea that I have a scarier theory that Drew's going to cash in on Roman. Because remember, Roman has been a dominant champion almost for 365 days with that Universal Championship. He's been champion since September, a week after SummerSlam. He came at Payback when he was a champion. No one has beaten him. Right now, who's Roman going against? Edge. It's beautiful. I love it because Roman lists out everything on Friday saying, hey, I'm beating this guy, beating this guy, beating this guy, beating this guy. There's no one left to stop me. What am I supposed to do? But we get Edge back. And Edge is like, hey, I want the match that should have happened at Mania, because remember, it was a triple threat because Daniel Bryan put himself in there. Daniel Bryan's bye-bye. He's on hiatus. So it's going to be Edge and Roman going out again, and this is putting the seeds for Edge and Seth Rollins, which I'm ready for. And it's rumored that's going to be John Cena versus Roman, which I'm ready for. Poor Cesaro. He'll probably win the IC belt from Apollo Creed. But please, for the love of God, do not have Drew cash in on Roman, because I already have a suspicion that he's going to go on SmackDown anyway, be the one who would throw him. But I understand that Vince is believed that Drew is a face of the franchise, but he went through a hard time in the pandemic years. Drew was a champion. The first run I was fine with, and we lost to Randy, we were good. But then the second run was so bad. When you have to face Goldberg in a Big Four pay-per-view, he's a no bueno. It's not good. It's the oh no from Mario voice. But
I can do that too.
Yeah, there you go. We're still a couple of weeks away from Money in the Bank.
Oh no! There we go.
That's pretty good. I mean, they have a couple other matches. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, yet again going towards it. I don't know who the bad guy is. The women's Money in the Bank, I'll speak on it when they get closer to having their roster fully there. But I am excited. It's July 18th, so it's really 3 weeks away. But Edge versus Roman, I think is going to be good because Edge looked good in, WrestleMania. So I think there's a match there that I can get into. And then Bobby and Kofi, I think could just be so good. But if Big E wins and cashes in from that to go against Bobby, reunites the New Day, but also it tells a bigger story of like, hey, you killed my boy, then you killed my other boy. But it's basically like a Fast and Furious movie that's family, mess with family. But instead of doing like rocket ships in the air, it's just going to be Big E slapping, Bobby Lashley around. I'm all for it. So I'm excited. Probably going to be more next week's The Gauge is what we call the down moment. of the cage. It's PG rated cage. No blood. Just a little bit of violence. That's all I got for you today that I can recall at the moment.
Okay. All right then. So I think that is it for us this week. So we will see what happens next week. I don't know if Andrew he's in that run up for studying. So I think we'll be just the duo here on out. But we got to start planning that fast food draft.
We can maintain it. We could be the new day for podcasting. We don't have our Big E because he's over in SmackDown, but we're Woods and Kofi. We're keeping it going. We're going to tag team. Side note, Ty, you were like, oh, can Tyen hold out? It's now 10-5. He has now have 5 innings and 5 earned runs. Get him off. Not goddamn
Dear
team.
God.
I can't. He's validating me. Most
It's
of the
literally
time,
5 runs in 5 innings.
yeah, but man, literally, usually I have to eat the humble pie, but like, I don't like this. This is like, oh, you have to eat your broccoli. I don't like broccoli. I only do it because it's gonna try to make me live longer. Tyen, you are my broccoli. Mofo.
Hold on, just before we leave, I just want to see his stats right now. Oh God, that is a 5.18 ERA. That is literally what he is doing right now.
Well, right now it's 5.45 because it upped it with that.
Oh
run.
my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thankfully we nailed out. Thankfully the Angels are trash. Best way to say it.
That's true.
Any other team, we're done. And he's only got 4 strikeouts. What's the purpose of this guy? 3 homers.
Boy. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
I hate you, Jameson Tyen. Bye, everyone.